One floor pan for the boy. Well, if this isn't exciting. It's finally turning around to be spring. I'm hoping that this isn't a false spring, but it looks like it's actually happening. The snow's actually gonna go away. Soon I'm gonna be able to get the Speed 3 out of its hibernation. And whenever this thing drives, I'll actually be able to put it in there and work on it and paint stuff inside, sort of. Lots of stuff to look forward to. So yesterday, I didn't record any of this. I bent this thing up the way that I kind of described. So I cut a slit right here. So if you recall, this was sitting down too low. So what I did is I cut a slit right here, and that allowed me to bend this up a little bit like that. So now it's flush with the frame, so that whenever we set the big piece that we're about to make here, it will be nice and flush. And then I welded it back up whenever we figured out where we wanted it to be. I also threw some rust paint on the frame rail on the inside, just because it's better than nothing, and I did strip off a fair bit of paint and a fair bit of rust, so that should help slow down the terribleness in the future. We also used some of our fancy paint on this section right here. And let's see how dry this is. I put this on yesterday. Oh, that's quite dry. Nice. It is pretty fast drying whenever it's not freezing out. So, awesome. So what I'd like to do this weekend, and today, it's Friday right now, just got off work, I would like to do the exciting part, which is actually creating basically the floor pan, which is going to go from here all the way to here, and it's going to go whoop flat, and then it's going to meet up with this, and I'm going to have to, it's going to go on top of this piece, so it's going to go whoop and meet up, and we're going to have to figure out this angle. And I've decided, in a previous video, I was debating on what we were going to do for this kick plate area, if we were going to incorporate it into this piece of steel or not, and I've decided that we are not. So this piece that we're about to focus on and make, I think we're going to make it go to right here. It'll go to right here, and then we will tackle it as a separate operation to make this piece meet up with it and maneuver around all this stuff. It's kind of the worst part. But after that, then we can weld in our rail that the seat attaches to on the front. And that is extremely exciting, because that's kind of like the main reason that I'm working on this, is because the seat has nothing to bolt to, and your feet basically had nowhere to go. So now your feet are going to have somewhere to go, and we're going to be able to wrap. This is starting to look like something you might call a floor pan. We out here, yet again. Since last time, we have trimmed a little bit back here to make this easier to adapt to with the new piece of metal. We have painted the rest of this after stripping off all the rust that we could. And we're trying to figure out this geometry right here, because I really don't want to accidentally cut off too much, because that would be disastrous. So what I've done is so it's one thing, we were a little bit short on the metal that we had left over for making this piece, but by a small enough amount that it's not going to be that big of a deal. So around right here, that is about as wide as it goes. It goes to about right here. So it's gonna go straight over to here, and then we'll have like a tiny little gap, but we'll totally be able to deal with that. So we have scribed some marks on our piece of metal, and then we've done an idiot check and actually measured it against the car. Like, it's kind of hard to imagine where it stops. Hard to describe, but the piece of metal will, it looks like this. So it's gonna sit around right here, and I've measured against my scribe marks how wide it is way at the end, how wide it is right here, because this is not, it bends at a certain angle, and then it bends a little bit more. So there's that we need to account for. And I've passed the idiot check. So we're gonna go cut that thing, and hopefully it doesn't come up being super duper short, and you don't have to watch me cry. So it goes like that, and then it starts bending a little bit more right there. So we are going to cut this and put it up against the car, and hopefully we'll be one step closer. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. This is what I'm talking about. We'll survive. So overall, pretty sweet. One thing I'm noticing is that these don't exactly match up very nicely, but we will. My hope here was that they would meet up perfectly, and I would weld them flush against one another, like together, versus being overlapped. But we'll persuade it. We can unbend that just a little bit, try and match this. So yeah, this thing's a little bit annoying. Are we gonna have enough material to bend that over? We won't buy a lot. It's a little long too. Might have to trim the front of it a little bit. But overall, nice. At this point, we have added a little extension here where we were short. So hopefully that will meet up half nicely. And we are iterating further. We've got to trim that. And I missed the mark a little bit along this, so we're going to trim that. And then we're going to keep going. Alright, now we're cooking. That's way better. This no longer rides up on the 45. This no longer rides up that quite so much. Cut off a little bit too much here, but that's fine. And look at that. That's a hell of a lot closer than it was. And we actually have the material that we need now. So now what? So we're gonna have to drill 1,000,000 holes in this thing for us to do all of our spot welds around the perimeter. So I marked down where the frame rail is there and up there, and we'll draw some lines, and then we'll drill a bunch of holes, and it should line up. I don't see why they wouldn't, but that is a concern. I'm a little bit worried about drilling a bunch of holes in the workshop and then bringing it out here and then having them like off and, you know, just have me looking at the ground instead of the frame. So, yeah, hole drilling time.
So it's making it harder. I got the demons and retarded from the Maces and Zaras, and they assume that they're entitled to it too.
Let's just say we put some drill bits to work today. I drilled these ones out on the car to ensure that as I was going along, I was actually meeting up with the frame rail, and it was quite a bit of trial and error. Made a few holes that ended up going nowhere, but I think we did all right. Ultimately. Those are all going to be rivets just because the material is really thin behind there. And yeah, I wonder how many holes this is. I might count it just for fun. After I weld it. It's more important. Alright, so we got to clean up some rust behind kind of this area on the car. I want to clean up the area where there is paint on the frame rail and all the other areas that have paint where I'm going to be welding to. I'd like to just clean up a little spot where each one of these spot welds is going to go, so we're not welding directly into paint, making our life hard. And yeah, we're going to get cozy with the welder. Alright, gave it a clean. It's looking a lot nicer. Looking like something straight out of an airplane. Because we're going to be flying, buddy. One floor pen for the boy. Look, they have a place to set stuff. Incredible. Alright, not taking it out of the car, hopefully ever again. We got a lot of welding to do, and I'm ready for it. What is that noise? What the hell is that? What? What? I don't... What? The battery in this thing is ridiculously dead. But what is that clicking noise? I thought I was crazy at first. What the hell? I think it's that thing with the Mitsubishi logo on it. We unhooked the battery and it stopped. That was annoying.
Rocket ride. Rocket ride. Rocket ride. Rocket ride. Rocket ride. Take me on a 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 rocket ride. Rocket ride, take me on a rocket ride. Rocket ride, rocket ride, take me on a rocket ride. 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 Take me on.
I reckon that'll hold together.